I think that Bitcoin is something so interesting and so unbelievable. It's almost like the aliens send it to the earth to save us, you know. The mission is to save Europe. We can speed up the process of Bitcoin adoption, of smoothing the landing of hyper-Bitcoinization, ending this experiment of fiat money printing. Bitcoin is a tool for freedom. It's a tool for sovereignty and helps you in a spiritual way. I like to say, and this is a very fresh thought, that we are El Salvador in Europe. If you feel like you need a little push-up, little hope, come to Prague. I'm very confident that you get the absolute conviction to go all in.
Today, I'm excited to welcome Matyas Kuchar to the podcast. Matyas is co-founder of BTC Prague, the biggest Bitcoin-only international event in Europe that takes place every June in Prague. Welcome to the Bitcoin Edge, Matyas.
Thank you, Paula. Thank you very much. Happy to be here, and hello to everyone on the other side of the planet.
We are looking forward to hearing more about Bitcoin Prague. But before we get there, tell me a little bit about yourself and what led you to Bitcoin.
Well, thank you again, and good question. I think like I was answering it already so many times, so I make it quick. I feel like I was always a little bit anarcho-capitalistic person, even before I know what that really means. And first time I've heard about Bitcoin was 2010, New Zealand, Occupy Wellington protest against the financial system, which was really ruining and which is still ruining the whole world, because it's, and I think I don't need to explain why it's ruining the world. So I really love that people were gathering in front of the Parliament House, tenting and talking about the problems. So I joined the movement. I was coming there every day, talking to people, and I really remember the Bitcoin logo on one of those tents. To be honest with you, Paula, I was going there for free food and cookies, you know. But anyway, it stayed in my mind. I didn't really get the whole picture, but it stayed in my mind. And fast forward to 2017, I get few of my friends thought about Bitcoin in a way of like investing, but also as a way how to acquire some illegal stuff on the dark market. And it piqued my curiosity. So I started researching it. I really wanted to try it. So I bought my first little part of a Bitcoin in 2017. And then I quickly realized how much of the gains, and it absolutely blew my mind. So when I saw making it 20 times in just a half year or something like that, in 2018, I was really full diving in to other crypto because I was not sure if Bitcoin is the only one. So I spent a lot of time. I spent thousands of hours lying in books, watching all the videos from Andreas Antonopoulos, ordering like 20 books from Amazon, reading them all in like 10 months. And really the big light bulb moment happened in 2020 when the COVID hit. And a little bit before that, there was a time when the market crashed in oil, and Bitcoin went down to 3,000. All my altcoin portfolio disappeared over a month. They were disappearing even before, but this was just the last hit. So I became a Bitcoin maximalist. I said no more shitcoining, no more chasing the charts. No, I really want to just stack sats. And since that time, I think that I'm proud that I haven't even looked at charts, and I'm not watching the price, and I have much better sleep. So fast forward to 2020, and since that time, I think the rest is a history, because we found the Bitcoin conference together with my brother Martin, Chain Camp, in 2020. That was a really successful endeavor, and in only 2 years we get a very good traction. So we had an opportunity to establish BTC Prague, which is the international Bitcoin only event, the biggest one in Europe, and it seems like that we are really doing it great because the community is growing, appreciating what we are doing, and it's a lot of fun. I'm really enjoying being in a Bitcoin ecosystem and just being on the orange team and doing whatever I can to make the transition phase more smoother.
Well, it sounds like you were born to be a Bitcoiner, like I've heard before.
Thank you.
And on your NOSTR tagline, it says on a mission. What are you on a mission to do?
Yeah, well, good realization that you realize that I've changed the tagline recently because really something changed last year in my personal journey, and one part of that was that we've achieved a lot in Czech Republic. We've achieved a big changes in legislation, so Czech people don't need to pay capital gain taxes after holding Bitcoin for 3 years. That's a huge win. I'm not a big fan of paying taxes anyway, but for most of the people, this is a assurance that they can really stack sats and they don't need to leave Czech Republic. They don't need to acquire another passports, looking for an opt-out agorists solutions. And I was one of those opt-out guys. So the realization that we have a chance to stay in Czech Republic with my family and friends, it was a life-changing moment for me. And it happened last year in May. Really, I think that kind of a moment, and it didn't happen instantly, but I was realizing that there is something to be fighting for, and it's Europe. Of course, I care mostly about my neighborhood and people around me, but then Czech Republic, then Europe, and then the whole world. I believe that everyone can make a change. And I think that now is the time to realize that because Bitcoiners are and will be even more powerful social economic class who can just make things and change things. And the story of Czech Republic is very strong and is very powerful because I was there when they drafted the law on a piece of paper with few other people, and I didn't believe that it's possible. I thought I said to those guys over the table, "Hey guys, good luck with that. You are being ridiculous talking to politicians, and this is so ambitious. It's mission impossible." But they did it, and this is a very good example. And I think Czech Republic can play a good role um, as a role model for other countries. And I like to say, and this is a very fresh thought, that we are El Salvador in Europe because we are seeing some really great development here in Czech Republic. How many companies we have and how many companies are applying for MiCA regulations. If you compare it with other countries, it's just an order of magnitude bigger. And I think this whole thing accumulated a mission for me because I'm still thinking about my personal influence and what can I do for Bitcoin. And that's what I was always asking since the very beginning. Not the very beginning, but since 2020 when we started this conference. We were asking with Martin, with my brother, what we can do for Bitcoin. We are not the developers, but we quickly figured that I have some experience with organization and with events and hospitality, and my brother e-commerce, and he knows the other side of the business development. So we put our heads together, and event business was started, and it was very successful. So I'm always thinking how to mirror the sentiment of the market, how to help Bitcoin grow, how to navigate our community in the never stop evolving space. And last year, and we always have a topic of the conference, and last year it was a legitimization, and I was personally, to be honest, I was not very happy about the topic, but it was necessary because yes, the space was legitimized and is being legitimized in the eyes of the whole world. No one can really say that the Bitcoin is not here to stay. But let's get back to the mission. So the mission is to save Europe. I really believe, and Europe is, I don't know if I can swear on your podcast. Europe is in very bad shape, but it wasn't like that always. You know, I like to look in the very past industrial age, beginning of the 19th century, when Europe was booming, and it was because of a free market and absolute capitalism, and people really wanted to have the change. So they were working hard and they were using the new technologies which were available: steam power engines, electricity, telegraph, and few other really important inventions. And they gave them this merge, gave them the chance to quantum leap into absolutely different productivity level. I really believe when we are on the beginning of next productivity leap with AI, robotics, genomics, and Bitcoin. So just really realize that, because it will happen anyway. We can speed up the process of Bitcoin adoption, smoothing the landing of hyper Bitcoinization, of fiat dying, ending this experiment of fiat money printing, and that's the mission. That's the mission. I really feel that it's time to start acting like adults, like before we get to the adulthood, because Bitcoin is now 16 years old, so it's a teenager, but it doesn't mean that it needs to act like a kid and teenager. I think it's time to realize that we are here for a future. We can make the future as we want, and if we actually decide that this is the way we want to approach, then it's just steps in between to make it the future we want to see.
Wow, that's amazing. So, Czech Republic is the first country in Europe and really around the world that has tax-free Bitcoin after 3 years.
No, it's not the first country. Germany has the time test after 1 year, so it's not the first country.
Okay, that's great. Hi, everyone. I'm excited to share that I'll be a speaker at BTC Prague 2026, the biggest and most influential Bitcoin only event in Europe, from the 11th to the 13th of June. Come and join me to hear incredible speakers like Michael Saylor, Jack Mallers, Fred Fenixon, and many more, and connect with a community of true Bitcoiners. Get your tickets now before prices go up, and use my link below for a discount. See you there. You know, when you were talking, you're talking about living in the world we want to see. And I love that. That sounds a little bit like Jeff Booth is saying that as we move over into the Bitcoin world, where there is no printing, where we have 21 million only, that our world starts improving. And it's almost like we are seeing the world that we want to live in. Is that your belief, that we are creating the world we want to see?
Absolutely. I really believe in materialization and a law of attraction. And of course, you cannot change everything. You cannot change what is happening on the other side of the planet, but you can change, and you should start with your own environment, what is surrounding you. First, clean up your own mess, right? As an individual, look at you in the mirror. Then family, friends, neighbors, street. Yeah, it depends how big you think. I believe that the big dreams are what makes things possible. If you can dream it, you can make it.
Yeah, I love that. What inspired you to start BTC Prague? And I'm hearing it's evolving over the years and the dreams are becoming bigger.
Yeah, good question. We've recognized the opportunity with Martin already in 2022, because Chain Camp was going really well. We've managed to create a Bitcoin only conference in just 2 years in Czech language, and we managed to get 2,000 people there, 2,000 Czechs. We have 10 million inhabitants in Czech Republic, and the community is huge, and it's really Bitcoin, not Bitcoin only, but like really, like we don't have many shitcoiners here in Czech. So it was easy for us, and we saw the opportunity, and other partners and companies from other countries were already coming to our Czech only speaking event, which was mind-blowing. I mean, like, who would guess that? I remember the time we were sitting with my brother and thinking about like what we want to do, and we still had our fiat jobs back then. And we said, okay, if we want to really go, let's go all in. Let's quit our fiat jobs and let's do one more big conference that will give us enough work for the whole year, and we can survive on that. We were pretty much sure that it will happen, and we were drawing the goals on a piece of paper for the first year without like having any connection in the word. We were quite well established in Czech Republic, but in a word, no way. Like no one knew about us. And I said, okay, so how many people do we want to have? 10,000. Okay. How many sponsors? 100. How many speakers? 100. So those were our goals for the first year of a conference, which was not existing. Oh, dream big. That's the first step. And then we worked hard. We traveled quite a lot of conferences. Each of us like 16 to 20 conferences for the first year. We flew to every continent. We talked to everyone. The first conference was quite a huge success. We didn't hit the goals, not all of them, but the first year we had 6,500 people, 80 partners in expo section, Bitcoin only, and perhaps something between 150 and 180 speakers. Michael Saylor came for the first year, Adam Beck, Saifeddin Amus, Jimmy Song, Nicolas Dorier, and other big shots. We had them all, so it was mission impossible, someone would say, but it happened.
You did it. It's amazing when you take the first step and you believe in something.
It was necessary. It was necessary because we really didn't have a big, massive event in Europe, but we had many small events which were hidden behind their language barriers. Europe, many countries, many languages, many cultures. And we saw the opportunity to connect all these communities because they can learn from each other. And in a time like this, when the world is invaded by bureaucrats and inflation and surveillance, we need friends, we need allies, especially now in the digital era when you can see fake news and deep fakes all around internet. It's good to have a friend on the phone from different country. You can just pick up the phone and ask what is happening there. So we see the need for that, and we just answer the market, and people feel like they want to connect in the real world. It's time to get back to the roots.
Yeah, I love that. I've spoken to many people who have been speakers and attendees at the conference, people like George Bodine, Robin Sayer, Efrat, Larry Lepard, and many others, and they all tell me how much they love it. For one thing, it's Bitcoin only, and that it just has such an amazing atmosphere. So that's why I reached out to you, because I really wanted to attend this conference, because I've seen some of the others. I enjoy them, but they can get political, and I'd rather focus on Bitcoin.
Yeah, thank you for your kind words. Yeah, well, we doing the events as we are the attendees, and we are still plebs. So we do pleb first, empowering individuals, building the Bitcoin bridges. That's our motto. I really believe that yes, it's necessary to onboard the whole world, but individual first. I think that's how Bitcoin was really meant to be: peer-to-peer electronic cash. We are trying to keep the mission pure.
Yeah, so that's the main message of BTC Prague, that Bitcoin is peer-to-peer money. And if we have money, really, we shouldn't be taxed, right? If it's going to be money one day, then hopefully that fight to not have it taxed is a good one. And also, you mentioned that you see the whole world on a Bitcoin standard. How do you see that coming about?
Well, that's very far. That's very far away. I don't even know if that will happen in my own lifetime. Small steps first, and you touch a thing that I want to react to. You said that Bitcoin is money. Of course, it is a money first, but it's not only money. Bitcoin is an amazing network. It's an open source technology you can develop on. NOSTR is a great example. Lightning is a great example. Bitcoin is a networking tool where you can meet people from other part of the world. So it's almost like a meeting application. So yeah, it's not only money. Bitcoin is a tool for freedom. It's a tool for sovereignty, and it helps you in a spiritual way. So Bitcoin is much more. Of course, it starts with money, but that's not all. And those are use cases for Bitcoin. We are trying to articulate at BTC Prague and bringing speakers who can explain those use cases and tell people how can they benefit from Bitcoin more than just hodl. Hodl is great. I mean, that's a basic, savings first, fight inflation. But if you want to fight inflation, that's great, and you should start with that. But then the time will come that you will realize that Bitcoin is more. And I think that is better to realize that sooner rather than later, right? So that's our goal. Just lead the people in the experience where we will show Bitcoin is much more than just saving technology.
Yeah, I love that you brought up all of those points. How has Bitcoin been a spiritual tool for you?
I've developed my own philosophy around Bitcoin and how it can help you on your personal journey. And I'm building on a Maslow hierarchy of needs. So for those who don't know, it's a pyramid, kind of pyramid, which have levels. And the theory says that you need to fulfill the first level to be able to go to the next one. So I think there are 4 levels. The first one is basic needs. That means that you have you not feeling hungry and cold, that you actually survive. The next one, and I think there is a shelter as well. The next one is kind of a
Belonging. Yeah.
belonging. Yeah. The third one, and you need to help me. I didn't prepare that, but the third one is a part where you feel appreciated by others and you feel kind of a fulfillment. And the fourth, the top of the pyramid, is enlightenment. If I remember correctly, I really believe that Bitcoin fulfills all of those levels in the same time, or it's a tool which can bring you to all those levels. Because if you have a good money, you actually can save. So that means that you can pay for a food and shelter. Because it's a networking tool, you can find friends and a partner for your own life, because automatically this networking tool is filtering out the people who you don't really belong to. Let's say this way. The fourth level is the way where you work on something you don't feel like working. So if you are in a Bitcoin ecosystem and you find a job in Bitcoin, you work on something what is more than just a job. It has a purpose. So that's the third level. And I think the fourth level, it's really something what is very difficult to explain, but I feel like Bitcoin is something what, and my tinfoil hat is just next to me, I should put it on. But I think that Bitcoin is something so interesting and so unbelievable. It's almost like the aliens send it to the earth to save us, because it's so smart, it's so elegant, it's so sophisticated. I can't believe that Satoshi Nakamoto made this thing. It's unbelievable. So this is enlightenment for me. It's a very good mental exercise, and I really love to think about it.
Yeah, I do too. And that Satoshi Nakamoto walked away, that's such an enlightened type move to
Yeah.
make, to not take the credit for something so incredible. And yes, it absolutely does change. And the more we go down the rabbit hole, we see how it can change every part of life. But that's not the first place people go. And we still are on that adoption scale,
hmm
how do you find adoption increasing in Prague and Czech for one thing, and just in general?
Yeah, I think I can talk about Czech Republic. The adoption here is very good. I would say it's somewhere between 1 to 5%. Uh, and those are just a good guess, like good estimations, because of like how many followers our biggest YouTube Bitcoin only YouTube channel has, and some numbers from the Cryptocurrency Association. But also, I feel like people like to spend Bitcoin because you can see that you can pay in Bitcoin more than 1,000 places in Czech Republic for food and drinks. You can pay for your groceries. You can pay for cars and real estate. You can pay in the biggest Czech online retailer, like a Czech Amazon, Alza. You can pay there for pretty much anything you can imagine. And people do that. So that just mean that people are really Bitcoiners. It's not just HOL for them. And regarding the whole world, I feel like it's better and better every year. There are pockets of better places which are more penetrated with Bitcoiners, and there are pockets of places which are absolutely abandoned, and that's very sad. It's unbelievable. Such a places like, for example, Hong Kong. I was just on a call with a friend from Hong Kong, and I was talking about and I was asking about the Bitcoin community there. Like, what is it like? And it was like, yeah, we are like 20 people in Hong Kong. I mean, that's ridiculous, right? Like, how big is the city? We are 20 in my own small city, not in Prague, so it's ridiculous. And I think this is a very, very important point for future, because those places which are penetrated more with Bitcoiners will simply become the hubs of prosperity in the future. I believe that's how the theory will play out.
And what makes Czech people so ready for Bitcoin?
Good question. So I think there are two things. First is the historical relevance. We've been under the communism regime for very long. My parents, they've been born in the communist era, and they didn't really think that they will ever escape. They didn't see the hope, but they did. Because, and that's the meme, hard times create strong man. So I believe that we are the strong generation because we had such a hard time during communism regime. We've lost our savings. Yeah, the government took pretty much all the money from people. It was forbidden to own foreign currencies. The time was really bad. So people are naturally very anti authoritative. They don't really believe in authority. They rather keep their own stash, and Bitcoin comes in very naturally. So that's the first thing, the historical approach or historical factor. And the second one is that we've been on the forefront of Bitcoin innovation since the very beginning, with TREZOR as the first Bitcoin hardware wallet in 2012, I think. And even before, the first ever mining pool was developed in Czech Republic, in Prague, by Slush, and running until now by Brains, still from Prague, mined more than 1 million Bitcoin. Then General Bytes, the biggest Bitcoin ATM manufacturer, is from Prague. Firefish, the lending platform, Prague, big exchanges and big cypherpunk buildings with hacker spaces. Everything was happening in Prague in a very early days, and that just give us the escape velocity for people to jump in and start learning very early. So if you need time to understand Bitcoin, so if you come early, you get ahead of the others. And I think that the snowball effect, what we had in Czech Republic, made a huge difference, and that make us the nation of the kind of acceptance what we see now.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. So, are you living mostly on the Bitcoin standard, and you're able to do that in Prague?
Well, I still use a fiat. I'm I'm still paying with my phone. Unfortunately, the convenience wins over the hardcore mission. But I can, and I'm still paying with Bitcoin a lot. I like to pay with Bitcoin for products and services if they offer Bitcoin. I feel like this is a good token of appreciation. If you really like someone, you pay them in a good money, not dirty money.
I like that. Do you have any concerns with the NOTS versus core debate?
Well, of course I do. Of course I do. But it's way over my pay grade to understand the technical details. So I think that I can say that I don't like images and kind of a non-financial data on Bitcoin blockchain. I don't like it. And I feel very strongly about calling it art. I think this is a disgusting insult. Call something like that art because it's not. People who does that, they should go to some museum perhaps, if they go out from their cellars, underground. But no, I don't want to go this way. So I think that this is just another thing what Bitcoin will need to deal with, and it's perhaps very important part of a Bitcoin ecosystem, like those infightings and trying to figure out what is the way how to proceed in future. I just hope that it won't be too painful. I don't want to see any hard forks. That would be, I think, just losing another time and scaring the market. Many people like don't really understand that, and imagine that you are a newbie and you are now looking at those Twitter fights. You can't figure out what to think, and maybe you say to yourself, "Okay, I'll wait. I rather wait because I'm not sure about that." Now, if you are in Bitcoin long time, you feel like, okay, this is just another thing what will kind of solve itself in a time. And even I don't know if I can say that it's quite a difficult situation we are in now. But Bitcoin is an open source protocol, and there are thousands of eyes looking at it. So I trust the experts in that, and those are just people on the both sides of the aisle, to be honest with you. I have people on that side and the other one, and I'm talking to all of them, and each of them is bringing their own arguments, and most of the time I really agree with both sides. It's just the Twitter drama which makes it as a hard to understand, and some kind of a fog which is hard to see through.
So ultimately, you believe it'll work itself out. And even if there did have to be a hard fork, we are going forward with Bitcoin because this is a much better way.
Who knows? I will deal with it, with whatever will come.
Yeah, it has concerned me. That's why I ask people. I don't like the fighting either, and I also don't like pictures, too many pictures on the blockchain. I'd rather it be what it was intended. I know there's much nuance there, and we won't get into that, but yeah, I appreciate what you said. And you know, I've heard you talk about self-custody, and that's important to you. And as you know, we also have the ETFs now and the Bitcoin treasuries, which are great for companies. But as a individual, you're an advocate of self-custody.
Yes, I am. Yeah, I think like not your keys, not your coins. And yeah, like, I mean, everyone can do whatever wants in Bitcoin, right? But if you want to use Bitcoin the like fully, use it as it was intended, as a peer-to-peer electronic cash without intermediaries, ideally without KYC. With every added feature, you are losing the power of Bitcoin. So if you are a big firm, you want to invest millions of dollars, and you don't have I can see the use cases for big firms and companies and institutions. They simply cannot self custody, or at least they say they cannot, because they have boards and they need to convince the board, and the board is scared because they don't educate themselves on Bitcoin. So yeah, I get it. Like, we need to meet two people halfway, but as an individual, think that holding Bitcoin in self custody in a proper setting, which makes you comfortable, and which is not making you easy prey, I think that's the right way to do it.
So you think that there could be a chance that even the US government could one day have to co-opt the Bitcoin in some of these companies because their dollar is failing?
Yeah, I think there is a chance. It's not a zero chance that it won't do it, right? They did it before with gold.
Exactly. And it's happened in many other countries.
Yep.
I've spoken to Tony Yazbek and Michelle from Lebanon, and I'm from Zimbabwe. I've seen
Uh,
the inflation go
yes.
crazy, but we don't expect it always in the West. But it's always good to have the option of self custody because that's what it was intended for, as you mentioned.
And non KYC, because self custody is fine, but you actually don't want anyone know how much Bitcoin you have. I think the privacy is a basic right. So why you should tell the world how much Bitcoin you have? Like, I mean, for me, it's a nonsense. Privacy is a human right. If you have a window, you want to have a curtains because you don't want anyone to see inside. It doesn't mean you do anything wrong. You just want to have your privacy. And good fences, high fences make a good neighbors. So, I mean, the KYC it's a huge trick, and it can make potentially a lot of problems to individuals in the future. Yeah, if they know you have Bitcoin, I think that's just fertile soil for someone to hit you a target.
Well, that's a really good point and something that I have to go deeper down the rabbit hole because, being in the US, KYC, I thought was not an issue, but like you're saying, maybe I have to look deeper into that.
Yeah, well, it's not easy, and I think that I'm talking from a privileged position because in Czech we have a very good non KYC peer to peer trading network. For example, Vexel app, where you can really easily to find other side of a trade. You selling Bitcoin or you buying Bitcoin. You meet a person and you just exchange Bitcoin for cash, or you buy some goods for cash, and it's a very natural thing to do. It's just that we need to trust the other part of the trade and develop the relationship between the parties. And in Czech, we have this network already been working for many years, so it's very easy. It's very easy. Other parts of the world, unfortunately, don't have those networks, and that's again because of our historical precedent, and because we were really trading cash for foreign currencies and for the kind of a vouchers on street if you wanted to have something else than the communist market was offering. So it is natural for us to do this kind of off the shelf trades, and perhaps that's the thing what we can teach the rest of the world, because when the shit hits the fan, you want to have on options.
Yeah, I look forward to learning about that. What do you think some of the main factors are that are slowed down Bitcoin adoption? So we do have increased adoption in Bitcoin, but there are still a lot of people who either don't understand that inflation is theft, which is one of the problems, I believe. Why do you think more people don't see the problem?
That's a very good question. If I have the answer, I would be a millionaire. I think people are living a very convenient life. They don't have too many very hard problems. And they are not looking for a way how to solve them, because if you don't feel the pain, if it's a slow boil like inflation, you don't feel that's the problem. We've been taught that in school that inflation is actually good for economy. They know how to smuggle in the message that this inflation is good and this is good for you. Trust us. So the problem is actually ever growing government and ever growing bureaucracy, but that makes the socialism even bigger, and people like to get free stuff. So the problem is actually, I think the problem is actually socialism and bureaucracy. And of course, with that, the bad money fiat system, which is just feeding those parasitic beasts in the bureaucratic system. So yeah, people don't see that because they don't feel the pain yet.
Yeah. And in the beginning, you mentioned AI, and AI, as that progresses and starts to take jobs, we've heard that it's very likely that universal basic income will come in. And how does that all go together? Because people are going to expect that.
Yeah, well, the universal basic income is just a next level socialism, right? So I don't think that this has a place in a word. It's very unnatural. Altruism doesn't exist in the nature. It doesn't. Yeah, okay, it does actually in bees and ants and termites. Those are the only altruistic creatures in the world. Humans are not. We are selfish individuals, with incentives. So I think it's a broken system. It will become obsolete. It's just about the time. And our mission of Bitcoiners is to end the fiat. With ending fiat, we will end socialism because it will be impossible to print money. You cannot do socialism with hard currency. So the world will heal itself slowly with a lot of hurdles, I guess. I don't want to say that I know all the answers, but I believe that we are on a good path to the better world and better tomorrows. It will just it will just need a lot of hard work, and people will need again to work hard and to show how good they are, and show they are a productive part of the society, so they actually deserve to be paid.
And in the free market, deflation is natural. Things will go down. And with sound money, hopefully more of us are going to be doing what we love rather than just trying to make money to survive. That's my
Yeah.
hope.
Well, yeah, I don't want to be a party pooper here. I'm very hopeful. I'm very hopeful for future. I think it's a very exciting time to be alive. We can't imagine where the technological revolution will get us in 10 years, in 20 years. We will be probably flying to the moon for for a vacation, and robots will be walking around us, and there will be self-driving, perhaps even flying cars. I'm really looking forward to that time, and it's absolutely essential that we have a hard money and free trade. I think that's the experiment which we are living in. It needs to end. It will end. It's just a matter of the time. So let's work together to make the transition smoother. Let's move to places which are more friendly. If you cannot fight it, I think it's good to fight. If you are this kind of a person who like to advocate for change and who like to take the opportunity and you have the power, just do it. Try it if it's possible. And if not, just move to the place where they treat you better. I think the government should be a service, not your nanny who tells you what to do. I think that we know what to do, right? We are adults. We can make our own decisions.
Yeah, I really love that message. So for our last question, well, before we'll end with Bitcoin Prague, but for our last question, how has Bitcoin changed you the most?
That's a that's a tough question. How Bitcoin changed me the most? Bitcoin changed me a lot. I mean, I really live and breathe Bitcoin. So I think Bitcoin showed me a many different perspective of life. I have a lot of time. I still work a lot. I pretty much all the time. I work all the time. But for example, I meet a person who is a Bitcoiner, and he or she recommends me some great book which I wouldn't find otherwise. So I think that Bitcoin changed me, and it's forming me every day because I'm meeting a lot of people, and I think that's the most valuable asset. And that's the change I am really seeing, that I've changed the people around myself, and I'm meeting amazing people all around the world, and I appreciate the connections I'm making.
Yeah, that is amazing. Really love that. So, just to end with, what should we expect from Bitcoin Prague in 2026?
Well, okay, we left the jewel on the end. So we are preparing something really special for BTC Prague 26. I'm very excited about it. And the topic of BTC Prague 26 is using Bitcoin. We want to show, and I already touched it, we want to show people and let them experience that Bitcoin is not only HODL, that it's much more. And we are preparing something even better and bigger than last year. So you can expect massive events with all these big shots you seeing on other events, and you are listening them on podcasts, and other Bitcoiners who will be happy to share how you can benefit from Bitcoin in the age where you need real connections, not just being in front of the screen. So we have pretty much 4 topics at BTC Prague. It's Bitcoin as a money, Bitcoin as an open source technology, Bitcoin as a tool for freedom and liberation, and Bitcoin as a networking tool, because Bitcoin is full of amazing people. So it's a community which is worldwide. It's amazing, you know? And we are exploring all of those topics on 4 stages, 3 days. But BTC Prague is 3 day long, but it's pretty much the whole week, because we have side events 2 days before and 2 days after. So it's pretty much really a Bitcoin week in Prague. So come on Monday, leave on Monday. So it's June 9 to June 16, if I'm counting correctly. Probably not. Just check it in your calendars. And it's the summertime in Prague. So Prague is beautiful. It's a medieval city with a rich history, and this is the place where you can, in Europe, meet everyone from Bitcoin space. It's the place to be. So if you are still not decided, just go on our webpage, look at the news, subscribe to our newsletter. We are actually sharing a lot of great news, what is happening all around the world, how are people using Bitcoin, and together we can make a change. So if you feel like you need a little push up, little hope, come to Prague. We give you that. I'm very confident that you get the absolute conviction to go all in.
What a great message. And I'm really looking forward to meeting you at BTC Prague. And I encourage all my listeners to join me and check out Prague. I've never been to Prague. I've been all over Europe, never Prague. So that's exciting. And just to be at an all Bitcoin conference with amazing speakers, I am really looking forward to it. So thank you for that. We'll keep sharing about that. And I will post links to everywhere to find you. But just for the people listening, where can people find you, Matyas?
Thank you, Paula. Well, on Twitter, I am at Matyas, Matyas 44 Cook. And on Nostr, I think I have a similar handle. I don't remember well, like there is an NPub, right? So you can find me by my surname, Matyas Kuchar, Kuchar. I'm posting a lot of like normal stuff, like day to day, a lot of red light therapy, cooking, and traveling. That's how I use Nostr, and Twitter is more about the business side of things and Bitcoin adoption.
Well, thank you so much for joining me today.
Thank you very much for inviting me, Paula, and see you in Prague.
See you there.